Hey, I'm Eric Blake. I'm a boat builder at Brooklyn Boat Yard. Years ago, good friends and I started Off Center Harbor to bring you inside the world of classic boats, bring you inside places like this. If you like the video, there's hundreds more. Just follow the link in the description below. After 5 years of offshore sailing in a 27-foot boat across the Pacific, when Colin Angus was just out of high school, he rafted the length of the Amazon from its foaming whitewaters high in the Andes, and then went on to running the Yangtze River, the world's 5th longest, from the heart of Mongolia through Siberia, all the way to the Arctic Ocean. After all that, Colin decided he would do something really challenging. Circumnavigate the globe under human power alone, by which he meant trekking, cycling, skiing, canoeing, and rowing across the Atlantic with his fiancée, Julie. After the round-the-world gig, then rowing from Scotland to Syria with Julie, now Angus is the favorite to win this year's first annual Race to Alaska from Port Townsend to Ketchikan. Last fall we caught up with Colin, and that in itself was no small thing, so he could show us the boat he has designed and built especially for this race.
This boat here was an idea I had in my mind for years. A boat that could efficiently move through the water and you can camp in it at nighttime, saving all that work of having to set up camp, especially in bad weather and places where there aren't any camping zones. This is our latest design. It's called the RowCruiser. And what we're striving to do is have a boat that could be rowed quite efficiently with a sliding seat rowing system, but also be big enough that you can camp aboard. There's enough room in the cockpit that you can have your dinner and just enjoy life in the water, have a glass of wine, sleep in it at night, camp and cook your dinner, so you don't actually have to go ashore and camp. It's essentially a cruising rowboat. This actual vessel was created by Marty Loken here in Port Townsend. So I'll be actually using the RowCruiser for a race next year, the race from Port Townsend to Alaska. So I'm really excited about that. It's going to be a two-person deal. It lends itself very well to long-distance rowing with two people because one person can rest and the other rows. You can go 24/7, non-stop. And we're also going to add a sailing rig to it so we can utilize any winds that we might encounter along the way. This here is the engine room, the sliding seat rowing station. And the nice thing about rowing is you can move a beamier boat through the water without any issues. Of course, with the double-bladed paddle, you're limited by the width of the boat. At the same time, sliding seat rowing also allows you to use your bigger muscles, so you can actually move the boat a little bit faster, and you can also move a heavier boat through the water at quite a reasonable speed. The sliding seat is affixed in rails which attach to the flotation chambers, which offer additional storage and an area you can actually sit on when you're not rowing. So this is sort of where it happens. You also use this area in the evening before you go to bed as an area just to hang out in. It's a small little cockpit, quite similar to a sailboat. So these are the outriggers that space the oarlocks out at a sufficient distance. And the geometry in this boat is very similar to that of an actual racing rowing stall, which of course they've, over the years, have achieved the ideal sort of geometry for maximum performance and comfort. The footrests are a little bit lower than average, just because for cruising it's much easier in your back and more comfortable in the long run. But it's a very efficient way to move through the water. We've got 9-foot oars, 9.5-foot oars, which are pretty much a standard length for sliding seat rowing. And you can't mount the actual oarlocks on the gunnel because they'll just be too close together for getting any kind of efficiency. These oars are perfect for rowing. These are nice carbon fiber oars, which are light and easy for propelling it through the water. Another nice alternative and much cheaper is constructing hollow shaft wooden oars to the same specs that they used in racing in the past, which are surprisingly light. These oars here are probably about 3 to 3.5 pounds. The wooden oars are 4.5 pounds. This here is the cabin. It's surprisingly comfortable. Slide in like that. It's fairly long. It's 6 feet 2 inches. which allows you to fully stretch out. Creates a great, comfortable spot at night. Prop your head up, see what's going on, and if it's raining, you would shut that and potentially put the washboard in. There's multiple storage chambers which also act as buoyancy, so it's a very safe boat from that perspective. This is the stern compartment. You can stick your larger items in there. And then in the cockpit, the flotation chamber slash seats also have storage which you can access through round inspection ports from inside the cabin. But you can put the smaller items you need. You can also, if you choose, have access from the outside too. It's a pretty simple matter installing inspection ports. The storage compartment forward is access, quite a bit of storage altogether. Packing your food and gear, and of course your basic camping items such as your sleeping bag and thermarest are going to be stored in the cabin. You know, anchoring is a very important part of the process. You want to make sure you've got the right tackle for a secure night. And the other thing is being able to deploy it nice and easily. So what Marty's created here, you can see, is a very simple clothesline affair where you can actually connect the anchor line to the clothesline from the cockpit, and then you just pull it forward like that, and that will bring the anchor line to the bow where it should be. And then there's different ways you can customize these systems. You can see Marty's put in little chafe strips so to prevent any chafing in the deck. Most of the boat is just buoyancy, so as long as the all the different hatches are sealed, basically you've got a very buoyant object on the water. Even if it capsized, you would need very rough seas for that, but if you did, you would just simply roll it right side up again and you're ready to go. There'd hardly be any water in the cockpit. While function is kind of the priority with our designs, you know, you want it to look good at the end of the day. There's no point in being out there in an ugly boat when you can have an equivalent one that looks good. And a lot of the looks sort of go in line with the function. For example, this has a plumb bow and almost plumb transom, and that does two things. Obviously it looks quite nice. Most importantly, you want to stretch out waterline length. When you start putting rake in the bow and stern, you're getting a shorter waterline length. You won't be able to sprint so fast. So that's one of the reasons why we've got the plumb bow. Let's go take a look at the stern. The hull is comprised of 8 panels. The bottom ones come together to create the skeg. Because there's 2 panels in the bottom, essentially you have a V there, but we've tried to flatten that V as much as possible in the middle to give it more initial stability. With this boat here, Marty's done a beautiful job and created a lot of little additional extras. For example, there's the system of stowing the oars, which is just brilliant. You just it's a little oar lock that sits in position there, and you just pull the oar up and boom, it's there, it's secure, it's not going to come out on you. And that's the nice thing about this boat, is it is very customizable. It's a large boat. There's a lot of different areas you can put those touches on just to give it a little more sparkle and pizzazz. I love the whole concept of traveling by human power for many reasons. Probably the 2 most important ones being it's just such a slow and very connected way to travel through the land. You're alert, you're wide awake, you see every advancement that you make and your progress. But the other thing is just from a health perspective. It's so nice to be able to go out there, get exercise, and be having fun at the same time, and that's what it's all about. Getting to explore and experience these remote landscapes and getting to meet the people, see all the flora and fauna. It's quite a magical way just to go out and enjoy the world.
Thanks for watching this video by Off Center Harbor. If you liked it, there's hundreds more. Just follow the link in the description below.